All right, howdy everybody. We're live praying and squatching. It's August 17th, 2021. I'm here with Wendell Burroughs and the Arkansas boys. He's got Marshall and Marcus with us. That's going to be sharing some experiences and such forth and so on. Then we got Ricky Weaver from Northwest Georgia Cryptids in here with us. So if I heard everybody right, we're going to start with Marshall because he was there for the beginning. It's his story. We'll let him tell it.
All right, Marshall.
Man, to be honest with you guys, I don't even know where to begin. This dates back years and years ago. We was all sitting around one afternoon. We was trying to figure out something to do for the next year's Arkansas boys thing that we had going on, and Wendell started talking about Bigfoot, and we was all blowing him off like, there ain't no such thing as Bigfoot. Like that's just no folklore that everybody talks about nowadays. Well, we dug a little deeper into it, and Wendell set up a little outing for me, Wendell, Jordan, Alex, and another member of the Arkansas boys. And we decided to go down to Falk, Arkansas, and investigate down there and talk with the locals about it, since that was one of the biggest areas back in the
70s when that happened.
back in the 70s.
Yeah.
So we went down there and talked with a bunch of locals, got a bunch of stories from them, and we drove around to what now is the Falkland National Forest down there. We went down there and walked around and went to an old homestead where the very first original sighting was down there. And from there on, Wendell pretty much took way off with it further than we thought it was going to go. That's your cue, Wendell.
Oh, my cue.
Yeah, I don't know what else to
Anyway, that was in 2016 when that all started, and we made a couple investigations down there, and then from that we went pretty much all over the state. We've been back and forth across Arkansas, and our team's growed. We got Matthew, one of the guys, and then Marcus here is my right hand guy. He had one of the closest encounters, and it's all because of what he was doing over there. Marcus, you want to tell us about that evening when we had that whoop scream with Clint?
It all started out with uh, 30 minutes later, we off the city. Started signing over the good. Next thing we know, over down, look straight down. We heard a whoop. Not very excited. Oh, I got. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Did you hear me when I was talking a little bit ago?
No, now I can. Barry cut his mic off. I guess it's picking up the fan. He's got a fan in the background. Go ahead and tell it again, Marcus, because I can hear you good now.
Yeah, basically, what year was that, Wendell?
2018,
2019. 19. But around at that time when we went up there to the Fort Smith area up in there in the forestry, we was camping out and I was splitting firewood, getting it ready to go for the night, fire for the night. Next thing, after splitting wood, I want to say probably 5, 10, 15 minutes later, we heard whoops coming off in the background. So Wendell and Clint said, "Oh, go ahead and do a whoop." So I did a whoop. I did a whoop. And about 6 truck whooped back.
Hey Barry, cut your fan off. Can you hear Barry?
Can y'all hear him okay?
When you cut your mic off, he was perfect. You can hear it. Must be the fan in the background drowning him out.
Yeah.
I caught bits and pieces of it about a whoop and stuff like that. I think it's just my internet acting up. It never fails. So was it the classic finding Bigfoot whoop that they do all the time, or?
It was more like a scream mixed with a whoop. You hear me okay?
I've encountered those things in the areas that we research, and man, it'll cause the hair to stand up on the back of your neck.
It definitely did us four hit there and wasn't expecting it because nothing had went right that day. We just ended up there by accident and ended up in a mess of them.
How many do you think was in the group that night?
I would say at least 8.
Man, y'all got on.
It went on to about 2 in the morning. They'd come in and out, and they would answer each other's with the screams and whoops. And like I said, it went on to about 2 in the morning. This same area, a year later, is when we went back to try to duplicate it, and several different teams, and Marcus ended up with getting hit with infrasound, and to where he is deathly sick.
Marcus, when that infrasound hit you, Marcus, what was your feeling on that, buddy?
Although we started back we hear the slide off the plug line. I said, I not hardly talk. I was over telling Clint to go. That's all I could say was go.
Barry's still got his fan on.
Hey, Barry, do you have a fan on in the background there, bud?
Yeah. Is it drowning him out?
Yeah, that's what's drowning him out, I think. Now I've got my dog started.
Uh-oh.
Hear me now?
All right, Squatch, pup, behave. Dollar. Ain't nobody out there. Push. Dollar. Push.
There we go. Sorry about that. Maybe that'll help. I turned it off a little bit for a little bit.
Sorry about that, guys.
Can you guys hear me?
Dollar.
Can you hear me all
right? Hush. You can't get on camera, hush.
They went.
Yeah, I think we can hear you a lot better now, Marcus. What was the question, Ricky? I didn't.
Oh, I was wondering how the infrasound affected him as far as did it make you sick at your stomach? Those headaches? What actually?
Well,
Go ahead, Marcus.
like I was saying is, coming back through the trail, we took a pickup out because we kept on getting whoops every time a vehicle would come in. So as we was coming back in, I was shining a spotlight over the hillside so I could see and see if anything's going on. Did not see anything, but all I know is I started getting dizzy, sick to my, got a bad headache. I could barely even function with anybody.
So it was your classic what they consider infrasound that these creatures put out.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. We ended up having to leave there early on the investigation because he was so sick and just visibly shaking. And Marcus is, especially before this, was one of these gung ho young men that, hey, ain't nothing gonna affect me, but it sure did that night. We ended up having to leave early because we was worried about him.
We were on an investigation back in 2011 down at the area we go to, and one of the boys that was on our team back that time, he got hit with infrasound, and he was the same way. All except now he actually, I guess what you would say, physically passed out from it.
Oh wow, that was a direct blow then from it.
Hey, when
You know, I've had these things, I guess, affect me a time or two, uh, but nothing to the extent that it did him that night. And
I said I'd heard about it and everything till that night, and I was still on the fence where it really occurred or not because I've never had them affect me that way. But we definitely watched it, how it affected Marcus, and then one of the other guys has told us that he's been in the same area and the same thing happened to him, but it was on a different investigation that we wasn't at. But so they're definitely using that in that area.
well, in that area you're talking about, do you think that the creatures are actually staying within the bounds of that area, or do they migrate in and out?
We know for a fact that they stay. It's like a 3 mile area right there. That it's actually a creek that wise, and they move up and down that Y. And certain times of the year, there's more of them there, but all year round in that 3.5, 4 mile area, there, if you'll move around, you'll find them. So they're staying there somewhere. We have searched a lot of the caves and found tracks there in them caves, but we hadn't narrowed it down to exactly what cave or where they're staying. But they're definitely there year round. So,
Well, now there's an area that we investigate over at Lafayette, Georgia, called oh Lord, Petty John's Cave over there. It's one of the largest cave systems, supposed to be east of the Mississippi, and we have. I've been all through the caves over there. I found a few tracks, but now I've never found any areas where it would look like bedding areas or anything for them. So I don't know if they actually use these cave systems as a uh, transfer area from one spot to another, or if they actually use these caves as bedding. I don't know.
right. It's that's the kind of way this is. We found all kinds of activity in them areas, but we don't know exactly where they're bedding or staying. They may move from cave to cave during the days in that area.
There's Mr. Burry back.
Yeah, there he is.
What about stick
I'm
structures?
back. I'm still having issues.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that. What about stick structures? Anything of that nature? Have you found that in the area down there?
Not
I barely can hear you guys.
do what?
I barely can hear you guys. It's like somebody's Wi-Fi is cutting out. I'm connected to mine right now, so that's why I talk so.
Oh yeah, wait, I can hear you fine, but we found very few structures in that area. But one deal that we did find is there's a cedar grove, and right through the edge of that cedar grove, about 8 foot high, there's a pathway where the limbs has been broke off, and they've been going up and down this we call it a causeway because it's probably 200 feet long and goes right off the mountain. And whatever was there, like I said, is about 8 foot high that it's been walking back and forth and broke all the limbs and everything off. So
Okay, now you're talking about the limbs being broke. Are they broken pointing in one direction, or
yeah,
they
yeah.
are? They are. Okay, is there a water source anywhere where that area is at?
At the bottom of that is where the waterfall is. The way they're broke going downhill. So they're going right to that kind of pond, and then it goes into a waterfall.
Okay, so this could be actually a trail that they use constantly, and they're using the tree breaks as a point of reference for the water
Right?
that's in
Yeah,
that area.
that's what I'm thinking too.
We've encountered a lot of that over on the Blue Ridge.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, Barry, we can hear you. Yeah, we encounter a lot of that over on WMA, man, over Blue Ridge WMA. Uh, we found like, I don't know, 8 or 10 different places over there where the tree limbs have been broke like 8, 10 foot high, but they're all pointed in one direction, and every one of them goes out maybe 300, 400 yards, and they come out right at a creek. If you follow the tree breaks, you come right out at Noontootly Creek over there.
That's the way this is. You come out right at the lower side of the. It's a creek, but it makes a little wide area, and then off to a waterfall. So
This is very interesting. This tells me that they're basically doing the same thing in those areas down there as we experience here in North Georgia.
right. Marshall had a encounter with something up at what was up at you and your brother Kyle at
Prim.
yeah, Prim. You want to tell him about that? I believe this was a Bigfoot encounter, but he's not exactly sure what it was. But when you hear this and been around Bigfoots in a while, you think, yeah, that's a classic Bigfoot encounter. But anyway, I'm gonna let Marshall tell you about it.
I honestly couldn't even tell you when it happened. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago. Me and my brother went bow hunting. It was right after muzzleloading season went out, and it was in between muzzleloading and rifle season here in Arkansas. So we went off and decided we was going to hunt a holler that we've never been to before. And walking down through there, it's like an old pig trail, basically. We had to get down and crawl to get down to the bottom of the bluff line. And the bluff line, what I'm talking about is there's an access road over here on the right side of the bluff, and it just goes straight down. Like it's just a bluff wall. And it was getting close to dark, and I heard something coming up the side of that bluff. Like, I didn't know it was an actual bluff until when we was driving out. And I was like, holy shit, that's a bluff. But he was coming up behind me, and I heard something. I turned and seen him, and he's like, did you hear that come up the bluff line? I was like, yeah, what was it? Did you ever see it? He said no. And I was like, huh. And I asked him where he was sitting at because I didn't know where he went.
Talking
He,
about your brother, right?
yeah, my brother, and he was sitting about 250 yards on the other side of the little draw, the pinch line from where I was. So whatever that was, come up the side of that bluff, about 15 yards below a little knoll in the ground where I was, and wrapped probably 400 yards around the tip of the land where we were sitting at over to him in less than probably 5 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
And to this day, we've never figured out what it was out there. I just thought it was some kind of like mountain lion or something.
Was there a lot of Could you hear sticks breaking? Did it
See,
sound bipedal or?
no, that's the thing. Like, it was quiet. It sounded like it literally sounded like a deer just slowly, like just walking and grazing through there. Like there was no loud thuds, no big sticks breaking, anything. Like I never heard. All I could hear is leaves crunching. And then about the time I grabbed my bow and thought it was going to come up over the hill, I heard whatever it was. It took off and, like I said, wrapped around about a 400-yard bend all the way around to where he was and stopped about 10 yards in front of him over a little shoulder, just like it did with me.
It knew exactly where y'all both were.
Yeah, like it knew whatever it was, knew where we were. And then when we left, we both had to pull our pistols out because whatever it was followed us all the way to the truck.
Boys, that sounds more like a Sasquatch encounter to me than it does a deer.
Yeah, especially when it followed them to the truck and it went right to where both of them was, and it
Right.
come up the bluff line. I see deer going down the bluff line, but they rarely come up one.
Right.
But that's an area that is up in the same general area as where Marcus lives, within 20 miles of each other. So we're going to try to go back up there this fall to where Marshall's talking about. And check
Have
it
y'all
out.
actually in that area up there? Have y'all actually found any tracks or anything like that of that nature?
At over to the other side where Marcus lives, yeah, we found all kinds of tracks over by the Sycamore National Forest. Now, this is, like I said, it's where Marshall had his incident is about 15 to 20 miles from where Marcus's area is at, but it's basically in the same holler, creek, whatever you want to call it.
Same mountain range.
Same mountain range that runs across there. So Marcus
I'm gonna
is
tell you
in
what
Olympia.
my experience with these creatures. A 20-mile area is really nothing for them to cover.
Right, yeah.
Hey, Wendell.
Especially within a few days. I mean, it's no time for them to cover that.
No.
Hey, Wendell.
Yeah, Marcus. You hear me?
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah, if you also want to know about an incident that happened to me and one of my buddies got coon hunting, there's a mountain. You see that mountain that's right behind me right there?
Right?
Yeah.
Me and my buddy was up on top coon hunting. My dogs were on the next mountain over, about 300-400 yards from us. Watching them on the Garmin, they was acting kind of funny. Next thing I know, one of my buddy's dogs screeches and howls and comes running back towards us. I watch my dog do the exact same thing. As soon as we get ready to leave, after we gather up my dogs, we hear a loud whoop and a scream coming from right below us.
Okay, now let me ask you this, Marcus. Me being an old coon hunter myself for years, how does your dogs react when they come in contact with these creatures?
They have their tail tucked between their legs and hair standing up on their back.
And most of the time, come back to where you're at.
Yeah, they come back immediately to us, and you got to think about it. The gun that I have on my back now is a 17 Mar coon hunting gun. This ain't no match, and yes, I have a 40 Smith & Wesson. That ain't gonna do nothing to that creature.
Well, guys, I always coon hunted with the. I don't know what y'all boys use, what dogs y'all use, but I always coon hunted with black and tan and blue ticks myself. And I've encountered the same thing. There's a place over on the Blue Ridge that they call Will Scott Mountain over there. Um, I've been over there on several occasions over the years. One memorable one back in probably early 2000. Me and a couple of my buddies was over there one night. The dogs left the truck. We turned them out of the dog box. They left the truck, went right straight up beside the mountain, struck, went right into the top, was blowing the trees out up there. All of a sudden, man, every dog we had quit. I had, I think, four of my dogs were in black and tans. Buddy that I hunted with had red ticks. Every one of our dogs quit, come right back down and laid down at the back of the truck, whining, and would not get up and go back out. And you know what they encountered up there, we didn't hear any whoops that night, didn't hear anything at all. But now whatever they encountered on that mountain up there scared the dogs bad enough that they come back and laid down at the truck and would not get up.
Well, basically, that's what I hunt with is English red ticks, coonhounds.
Right.
For 3 or 4 days, I could not get him to go back out, but then finally, whatever it was, he got the fear back over him and back out.
Scratch Peyton's dog all the hell.
Well, guys, you know, I always considered once I got into doing the Bigfoot research and all, and way coonhounds react to these creatures, it really amazes. And well, it impresses me actually that you can take a pack of hounds that are die hard, not scared of anything, and once they encounter one of these creatures, hey man, they just lose all sense of reality. I don't know if the creatures actually hit them with sound or what it is, or what it's just a smell from the creatures that the dogs are not used to, whatever. But what I've encountered, they will come back and they'll cow down at your feet, and they won't go back out at all.
That's an interesting thing because the dog whistle is high, same as infrasound, and the dog can hear it. So it may be even worse on a dog or something like that. That subsonic frequency is maybe really affecting them, which it affects us, and so.
So yeah, why wouldn't it affect the pack of hounds?
Yeah.
Just to let you guys know, my phone will die here in a little bit. It's at 2%, so I'll probably end up losing you guys here in a little bit.
All righty. Well, it's good to have them encounters anyway. Hey, Marcus,
Yeah.
before you go, up at Sillamore, when it was you, Matthew, and Austin, you want to tell about what happened there on the creek when that one got after Austin?
Oh, you know that day where we finally got back up in Austin and Matthew left us when we were surrounded that time?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we all went down to the creek and we did all 3 different teams. Me and Matthew and Austin ended up getting surrounded by them, and the other group team, back to me. I tell them, like, look, we're surrounded by, there's at least more than 5 or 6 up there. We're surrounded. As I turn around, we have something coming up from our, we turn around, don't see nothing. All I'm saying, it was not a wonderful fighting. It was not a wonderful. But then also me and other people down there. No, it's coon hunting. We just there.
His
we
audio's
was
cutting
waiting
in.
on that truck. We and Austin or whoever was on with him too kept on having this weird feeling like something was taking us. So we just kept on going back to the truck. We have a big rock that's on the back.
It's too jumbled on my end to be able to tell what you're saying, Marcus.
Yeah, same way on mine.
I don't know if Ricky or Barry could hear you or not, but we just caught a
Yeah,
word.
yeah, I just caught a word edgewise there.
That's the good old internet we struggle with.
Hey guys, if it wasn't for screwed up internet, I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah. Either one of y'all, Barry or Ricky, got any questions for either one of these boys or anything?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, we got you, Barry.
I was going to ask the infrasound when you got hit with it. Did the effects fade fairly quickly, or did they last a significant amount of time, or talking hours, days?
Looks like we lost Marcus. His phone. As far as I know, because he'd call me every evening, it lasted about 3 days. As far as till he felt back normal.
Wow. I know the guys that I've been around that this stuff affected. Once we've cleared the areas, it seems to wear off fairly quickly. Now, that kindly, you know what, that sheds a whole new light onto things when something like that starts affecting you for 2 or 3 days at a time. That's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, that's he just had that uneasy feeling, and he called and he said, "Man, how long does this last?" He said, "I think I'm feeling fine," and then, it all comes right back again. So I told to call the other guy that had it, and his just lasted about 24 hours. Neil was his name, that guy that had been in the same area and like a year before us and got hit with it. So they talked back and forth, and he gave Marcus a lot of pointers of how to deal with it. So
Right. And I have spoken with people over the years while doing these podcasts and stuff, and I've had people tell me that it causes them to be kindly squeamish or whatever for 2 or 3 days. But
yeah, that's
you know,
what he was.
uh, and then again, I've talked to people. I've interviewed people that have had encounters with Sasquatch, and over the years, and it completely changed their lives for them. One
Yeah,
guy that I know, that I personally know here from Georgia, that had an encounter back 6 8 years ago. Now he was, before all this took place for him, he was a big deer hunter, coon hunter. Hell, he won't even go back in the woods now. But he and his son-in-law actually had a full-blown encounter down in Troup County. They was hunting a swampy area down there, and he said they actually had one come out about 10 to 15 yards from them, and he said this thing stepped right out in the trail in front of him. And he told me, he said, man, he said, I never thought there was monsters in the woods until I encountered this. He said this thing was 8 to 10 foot tall. He said weigh about 1,000 pounds, and he said this thing screamed at us. He said threw its head down and screamed at him, and he said this thing's when it screamed, he said its whole mouth looked like its jaw just dislodged. He said all he could see was just the teeth and interior of this thing's mouth, and he said he could feel it from deep in his chest, the scream that this thing let out. and it scared him so bad he won't even go back in the woods now.
Like I said, that one time that Marcus was chopping that wood, and that one was within 50 yards of us, that rattled your chest. And like I said, I was sitting in the back of the truck on the tailgate, wasn't expecting anything to be around. When he let that whoop out, and then that answered him just that quick, and it goes whoop, rawr. Just, I mean, the hair just instantly stood up. As a guy that was with us, I got to tell that his name is Greg. He didn't believe in Bigfoot that night, but when it let out that scream that close, I was unnerved. So my shotgun was right beside me in the back of the truck. So I grabbed it, whirled around, and was under the tailgate and trying to see. And all I could see was the trees going like this. And as it went off the back side, you could see the wide mass of it. And that Greg guy come running over and put his hand on my shoulder. And when he did, I just about knocked him out with my elbow. He goes, what the hell was that? I said, that's that Bigfoot you don't believe in.
Well, I'll tell you what, Terry told me, the guy I was telling you about that happened to down in Troup County. Terry told me that it scared him and his son-in-law so bad. He told me, he said, if I'd have thought about it, he said, I would have peed myself. He said, but my son-in-law did. He said that boy.
Yeah.
He said that boy, it scared him so bad he peed all over himself. And you know, when you encounter something like that, and really at the time not believing that these creatures actually exist, you know, I guess it would make you get to the point that you don't want to go back in the woods again.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. Have you tried any of the what did we call it that Jeff Crypto Hulk Stewart told us about? What was it? Call blasting. We tried that for a year on like gang calls and everything. Never had much luck out of it. Now, the more of the whoops and tree knocks, we had luck, but we did all the call blast. The only thing that we did have some luck with was the injured rabbit call, and that was on the creek here locally. We had something that come up the creek to us, but we never heard or never seen what it was, but it was making a lot of racket and noise. But other than that, we never had any luck out of the call blasting.
Well, now the call blasting that we've done over the past few years, we have done it, but we've actually used taking Sasquatch screams and recorded them off the internet and call blasted those. And we
ain't done that.
Can y'all see or hear me here?
Yeah, we can see you, Barry.
We see you, but you ain't moving.
See me, but you can't understand me. Hang on a second. Try something else.
But no, folks, like I said, you know, I've been doing this for over 40 years now, and I've been chased out of the woods. I've had encounters you wouldn't believe, rocks thrown at me. Actually had them push trees over within 10, 15 yards of us, throw sticks at us, all kind of crazy stuff. But for some unknown reason, I guess I'm just as crazy as they are, because I still go back out in the woods and try to learn all I can about these creatures. So, you know, just take it with a grain of salt.
Got a comment here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, by Sarkabro Sasquatch Station.
Oh, right. The dog man was only 6 foot, I've seen.
Yeah. Now, that's something I ain't had no dealings with as a dog man. I hadn't seen. Now, Western Arkansas, I got some friends that's seen them. They're over by Oklahoma, but as far as right here, as far as I know, we don't have no dog men that I've even had reports of. So,
when Blake and I encountered a deal down at the lake back about must have been August of last year, he and I and a couple other guys, my grandson, my youngest grandson, Ethan was with us, and we encountered something in the old cemetery up there, which we do paranormal investigations too. And
Right.
Blake and I had left Ethan with the other group down at the camp, and Blake and I had walked off up into the cemetery, which was about 100 yards, maybe 200 yards from where we were camped at. And just as we walked out about middle ways of the cemetery, there was something let out one of the god awfulest, uh, I don't know if you'd call it a scream, a screech, witch screeching or what, I
Right.
don't know. But now that is one time that scared the living shit out of me, if I'm to say such a word. Uh,
Right.
uh, Now I was actually scared that night, and my grandson had walkie talkies there at camp, and he got on the walkie talkie and called me, and he was scared to death. He asked me, he said, Papa, what was that? He said, I know it wasn't Sasquatch. I said, no, it was not a Sasquatch that I know of. I've never heard anything like that out of a Sasquatch. And we turned and went back down to camp because of it. And the next morning we got out and walked about a mile and a half over to where we camped at over next to the lake, and we found tracks in there that were about uh,
Must be market.
probably 8 to 10 inches long that looked like just huge canine tracks. But the middle toe on these things, or middle claw, was a lot longer than the side claws. I've
Huh.
never seen I've never seen anything like it. But you know, if that was your
Any
old
better?
classic dogman encounter, we never saw anything. We just heard that crazy scream, and then, like I say, the next morning we found those prints over there next to the lake, and but it looked like huge canine tracks, but the middle claw was out a lot longer than the center claws. I've never seen anything like it. You know, when
I
it first
I've only seen it in pictures, and then my friend Mike Shanks. I was trying to. It's somewhere in Kentucky, uh, wherever the supposedly the bunch of Indians that got massacred or something. I can't think of the name of it, but anyway, he lives there, and he sent me a bunch of the pictures that he took of that described. It looked just like what you're describing.
is the area up there called Land Between the Lakes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where it was.
there's a lot of dogman sightings out of that area up there. That kindly runs up the Burries area, I think, back up in the mountains.
Huh. I didn't know that, but that's where he was at, and I mean it was a live video, and you could tell the tracks was fresh, and it just exactly how you described it there. I was like, wow.
And boys, I'll tell you what, something like that, when you encounter something like that, it'll actually make your blood run cold. I'm here to tell you.
I'm sure.
Just, to,
I don't
just
want to encounter one of them. Sasquatch is enough for me.
hey man, just seeing the tracks off these things, give me the heebie-jeebies. I wouldn't know what to do if I encountered one of these things face to face.
Huh. Me neither. Barry's just having all kinds of trouble tonight.
Yeah, he's having all kind of problems. Look like.
You got anything else you want to add, Marshall?
No.
No. Any other questions any comments from anybody out there? I can't even tell how many viewers we got right now. Usually it puts up a deal. But I guess since Barry ain't on there, it don't show it.
No, I don't see anything. The only thing I see is just this from Scarborough Sasquatch Station. Right, the dog man was only 6 foot tall that I seen.
Yeah.
That's the only comment I've seen posted.
Yeah, that's me.
Over there in the right corner.
Oh yeah. I wish our other team member got to be on here, but he ended up having to move his family. Matthew, he was on the show with you back during the winter time.
Oh yeah, okay.
Me and him was on there, but he was going to be on there. And him and Marcus has more details, you know, because they're usually teamed together, so they're their
Right.
backup.
There's Mr. Burry back.
You back, Barry?
I'm trying to work through this. Oh, I'm trying to get there for you.
It looks like Scarborough is out somewhere right now.
Are
Well,
you saying you heard a vocal just now? Can you hear me, Ricky?
I can, Burry, but you're kind of muffled.
Yeah, same way here. It's just like he's
This
talking.
internet was working just fine before we went live when you first come on when Wendell was talking.
Yeah.
Hey, Burry, while we're on here, I saw.
Oh.
Well, there goes again. I saw a post of Burry's yesterday on his YouTube channel where he had posted that. Barry, can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I saw a post of yours yesterday about a some type of stuffed animal or something that you had attacked a tree up there. Did you ever find out what happened to that thing?
No, the stuff I forget it's not called. You get it from I got it from both things or just I couldn't be about a big monkey.
Buddy, you're just fading in and
I
out,
used to
buddy.
put the stuff out one a little bit. So I
You sound like
I
Mac.
was saying they're little stuffed animals you get for your pets, for your dogs.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you now.
Like I said, you could say it looked like a monkey or a gorilla or bear or Bigfoot. I always called it Bigfoot. So both Steve was throwing them up a little bit, and I didn't want him to get the stuff out of it. So I picked it up best I could. I took it out the tree and strapped it to it. Went about 40 yards away and strapped the trail cam to it and left it there. Face.
How would you find your trail cam if it's strapped to something that was moving around? Unless you could find the monkey had a locator chip or something in it. That's a good idea, though. I think he was saying that he had a trail cam strapped to a stuffed monkey.
I think what it was, he had posted that he'd had this stuffed monkey or whatever attached to a tree and had a trail cam on
So,
it, and the trail cam was there.
you still hear me?
No, can't hear.
Can you hear me?
Murray, you're still fading in and out bad, buddy.
Can you hear me? Okay. So like I said, I
Yeah, we can
put
hear
it
you
out
right
there
there.
with the camera facing it and stay out there for 2 or 3 minutes. Nothing ever messed with it. Nothing on the camera. Camera in a different area for one reason or another. And I done a good job strapping this stuffed animal to the tree. And the transfer got wet and stuff and knotted up. I was like, I'm not messing with that. I'm just gonna leave it there.
You know, anytime.
So I moved the camera
On low.
I don't know, 2 or 3 months later, I'm out in that area. It just dawned on me, this is where I left the stuffed animal. I looked over the stuffed animal straps and I was gone off the tree. And I went a good 20 or 30 yards in a circle around that tree. Found the tree, I had the camera on, so I knew I was in the right area. Like I said, the whole shooting shaboodle was just gone after I moved the camera. I hope Ricky got to hear most of that.
I heard it, but I didn't understand most of it.
What it was, he said he put this stuffed animal on the tree and had it, I guess, bungee corded down there,
Oh,
and he had a trail cam on it. And he said while the trail cam was up, wasn't nothing bothered it. Well, he took the trail cam off, and after he took the trail cam down, uh, the monkey come up, the animal come up missing off the tree, hitting the cords and all.
that makes sense because we've had all kinds of bad luck with infrared on it. Yeah, about all you'll get on a game camera is like a blur from something behind it that maybe moved its hand in front of it, or if it's cold wintertime, you get the mist from it, or eye shine way away from the camera. And only way I know around it, we're looking at the old still photos that cameras that you could use a tripwire with. We got one, and on our next time out, that's what we're going to hook up. You only get one picture, but it's got the big flash and everything. Don't go off to its trip. So I'm hoping that works.
I'm wondering though if it does. I'm wondering if these things will actually destroy the camera.
They may. We don't know. But we'll find out, I guess.
I've never actually thought about doing that, but that would be a good way of maybe catching one of them on film.
That's what the next time we go out this fall. I seen a comment from one of my buddies that's going to be helping us, Thomas. Anyway, he popped up there as Thomas. They're on the Bigfoot hunting group, and they're going to be helping us. I missed the comment; it went by so fast. He said representing the Bigfoot hunting club, but they're the ones that come up with the idea and everything.
So where did you find one of these cameras at like that?
Actually, at a flea market store up there near where Marcus lives. It's Mountain View, a little town that's got a bunch of folk singing and all this. That's got old timey flea market all the way around. So his camera is probably late 60s, early 70s.
What type of film does that take? Though 8mm or what?
It takes the regular roll film.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's 8mm. No, that's a video camera.
Yeah, that's video. Yeah, 8mm.
This is just a like Polaroid film that comes in a roll. If we could hook the trip, we're only going to get one photo, but if you had something that was reset, you could get several maybe. Because every time you click the deal, it'll flash and take a picture and roll the film. Now my audio is going crazy.
I don't know what's wrong with this crazy internet tonight.
Yours has been good. You ain't cut out or nothing, Ricky.
I don't know. Normally it's mine going wild. I've got AT&T, and it's normally probably some of the sorriest days on the market.
Right. Right. posted there. It's the right bait to make them more curious of the bait or want it more than worrying about the camera.
Yeah, but what's the right bait? That's the other. That's the $1 million question.
Yeah. Well, this last time we had a deal. It's not chicken. I figured anything like chicken, but no. We
Don't like chicken.
Didn't like chicken at all. It
Huh.
was raw though. I figured they'd like it raw, so maybe we already tried it cooked.
Maybe they may like it cooked. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I know we was over on Blue Ridge back year before last, and we had something come in and raid our camp while we were out doing an investigation. Tore my now, I had a big 48-quart cooler, and this thing tore the lid slap off that cooler just like you could hold it. It was twisted. Something I couldn't have done. Any normal man that I know of couldn't have done it. But it snapped the lid, slap off that thing, and I had a small ham in there that I was going to cook the next day for dinner. And this thing got that ham out, and all that was left of the ham was basically just the inner ham bone. And this thing had ate it right there in camp. Didn't bother anything else. We had packs of bologna. We had cheese, all kind of stuff in the cooler, and the only thing that thing got was that small ham. And like I said, it ate it down to the bone and left the bone laying there. We found it probably 20 yards outside of camp.
So they may be selective as what they want and what they're seeking for.
Maybe, I don't know. But you know,
one friend of ours, and we was going to try it, but we forgot it. We was going to go by Walmart and get them that said marbles. Said they've had more luck out of marbles thrown out as far as getting cracks and everything. He says they love marbles, so we're going to try that the next time.
When I told you the deal here a while back about the guy with the tennis balls, didn't I? He told me that when he'd been going in up there in Tennessee. He told me the name of the camping area up there, and I can't remember. But he said for 4 or 5 weeks prior to this, he'd been going up there, having to walk about a mile into camp. But he said about 10:30, 11 o'clock every night, he was getting rocks thrown at his tent. He said never failed. He said every week it was like that. So he decided he went to Walmart and bought a bucket of tennis balls. Now to show you how smart these creatures are, he went back up there on Friday evening, parked his car. He said there was probably 10, maybe 15 other vehicles in the parking area there where you had to park at. He walked up there and set camp up. Same thing about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. He started taking tires and rocks. Not big rocks, pretty good sized pebbles, he said. So he decided to get out there and he started those tennis balls and started throwing them through the woods. So he said you could hear these big things running back and forth through the woods after these tennis balls. Well, he said what really got his attention was the next day when he started to leave. He got back down to his vehicle. All these other vehicles still parked there in the parking lot. He said every tennis ball, Wendell, that he threw that night was lined up across the hood of his car. So So now, whether it was from the scent that they recognized his car, or whether they actually were watching when his vehicle come in, or what the whole deal was, I don't know. But he said every one of those tennis balls was lined up across his car.
Wow.
Now, most people consider these creatures to be dumb apes out here running around through the woods. Hey, it takes some intellect for something to do something like that.
Mm-hmm. Sure enough.
And these creatures survive harsh winters. They survive drought. Anything that Mother Nature can throw at them, they survive it on a daily basis and still produce families, still live right out where they live at. Now, you tell me, in this day and age, if they came in, cut off everybody's electricity, closed all the supermarkets down, how many people in this day and age would be able to survive like the Sasquatch does?
Not a lot. I know a few around here, but the majority of them wouldn't, and the majority of them's families would. They'd have to rely on one person.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
But yet these creatures do it on a daily basis. Every day in and out, 365 days a year.
It's well, they've just hadn't gotten soft. That's the deal of it is. We used to, and but over the years they say we got smarter. I don't know. I don't really believe that, but we just got softer and figured out ways to make stuff easier, and that's probably not the best thing. Just because it's easier don't mean it's good for you. These creatures have had to sustain themselves, and they've learned the ways from generation to generation that's passed down, and they've retained their abilities as far as how to stay cool, how to find the water, like the limbs that we was talking broke down. That they back in the old days, we relied on each other to stay safe. Well, that's the same way these rely on to find food. They come back and tell the whole clan or the family group, whatever you want to call it, and it's just bred into them, and they hadn't lost the ability or even looked to lose the ability the way we have.
Right. It really amazes me at what these creatures can do. And you're exactly right, Wendell. Nowadays, the human species has come to the point that if we had to go back and live like we did 100 years ago, or like our forefathers did 100 years ago,
Yep.
90% of us would die out.
Yep, sure would.
I mean, and that's plain and simple. But yet they call these creatures beasts, and the people that do believe in them consider them to be just dumb apes. The biggest majority of them do. These creatures are not dumb by no standard.
Nope, no sense at all.
As far as survival techniques, these creatures have us outdone 2-1.
Yep.
And that's that's my feelings on it.
Well,
Buddy,
that's my feelings, and that's what I've encountered in the woods. I mean, after you've been around long enough and seeing the evidence and everything, you get to thinking, well, there's more to this than it just living out here and there's just one or two or whatever, and maybe one rogue one. No, this is a complex group. I don't know what's the terminology, but they have like the stick structures that represents food, water, markers. The Indians did the same thing back in the day before a cell phone. They had to bend over trees that pointed towards the river. Most of the people nowadays don't even know if the sun comes up in the east or west.
that's exactly right. Well, my grandfather was full-blooded Cherokee. Grandpa showed me we have what they call white birch trees all
Yeah,
through the mountains up here.
yeah.
Those birch trees, certain trees, you can go and you can look on them, and there's actually markers imprinted in those trees where they've actually taken rocks and beat you. I can show you trees up here. It's got turtles in them. That's got just all types of designs that's been notched into these trees. Oh,
There's Thomas, the other guy I was telling you about that helps us a lot. Because I found apples cut up works, but when the farmer next door has chickens in his house, he raises for Tyson Foods. The clan that stays in my wood enjoys the free chicken, so I leave apples cut up.
well, that would be something that we can try.
Yeah, I hadn't tried it. I've
Well, I
tried bacon, and like I said, we tried chicken, but we had it suspended and with the bacon, and it was hanging like that, and we didn't get no activity off of it. So,
not even mouth the bacon.
uh-uh.
When I've suspended apples, I've took whole apples and put them just pierce them down on tree limbs, and I've had various luck from taking apples. But whatever you do, these creatures ain't gonna do it when you watching them.
That was another deal. At the time, we had trail cameras, but they were way far away to where we hoped to just get the eye shine moving around the bacon and chicken to where we could, because we had it marked at different levels so that we knew we had the height wise. So when if we saw the eye shine, we knew what was moving around. So there's no trees for it to hang on. I mean, to be any other kind of animal or anything. So
Well, now, do you think maybe the cameras might have had something to do with them not bothering it?
it might have, yeah.
I mean, with these creatures, you never know.
You never know. So
Sure don't. And like you were saying about the structures and all that these things leave behind, you're definitely right. Even the X's, you know, tree limbs broke in one direction, trees pushed over, whatever. When you find things of this nature, it may not mean anything to us, but it definitely has a meaning to them.
right. One of the deals, and I think that's where the young stay. We found in the woods, say 150, 200 yard circle were trees. One tree was been pushed over and laying on the ground to where it's at the butt of another tree, and it makes almost a perfect circle. We found them 3 or 4 different places over the years, and they're about the same size. And there's one spot that's left open to where something would like walk through as a doorway. That I think that's where they're keeping their young at, and the young know not to get out of that circle. But because we found small cracks in this area, but I really don't know what it is. But you could tell it was definitely made. There's no coincidence that they could fall that way in a circle. And then on top of it, we found a small track. So I just putting 2 and 2 together. I might be off, but they're using it for something.
Well, now that could be as you say, that could be a nursing area for the young.
That's what I'm thinking they are.
Most definitely. I know going back when one of my nephews was little, my sister's he was probably 2, 3 years old. He was real hard to control, and my sister had this Cookie Monster bank that she had bought for him. Well, that kid was scared to death of that thing, and she'd put him in the living room, say, and she'd set that thing down in the doorway, and she could walk out and stay gone an hour, come back. That kid would be in that living room playing. He would not go nowhere around where that bank was at. He would
So,
not
yeah,
go around it.
kind of same situation there.
could be the same situation. Sure could be.
Yep.
Well, man, I'm going to have to back off here. I don't know what happened to Burry, but I've got to close out. I got to
Yeah.
talk to a guy. I got to talk to a guy down at the parts store about a job in the morning. So I'm going to back
Oh
off
wow,
here
man.
and. Hi.
I said, oh wow, I hope you get the job.
Well, I hope I do. I had a heart attack back in 2013, and I've been on disability for the last 8 years or so. And I had a guy offer me a part-time job down here at the parts store. So he's already told me I had the job. He's just waiting on my background check to come back. I've got to talk to him in the morning about that. Just something to get me out of the house, man. I'm tired of sitting in this house.
All right, yeah, sounds good. I'll be praying you get it.
Well, I need all the prayers I can get, buddy. Hey, before I go out and get off here, when does this COVID deal? Is it started to get bad in your area down there again?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I know more people now that's had it actually than the last round, but all of them are saying it's not as bad as it was then as far as the symptoms and everything. So I don't know. It's just ever how you want. Back when they said it was really bad here, well, I only knew 3 or 4 people. Now I probably know 15 that got it. So
The reason I ask, I lost a brother-in-law back in January of this year to it. My sister-in-law called me today. Her younger brother Wayne, he passed away about 3 o'clock yesterday with it. They got his wife in the hospital, his daughter in the hospital, critical condition. I don't know if she's gonna make it or not. I have a neighbor over here that he's been in the hospital for over 4 years. We don't know whether he's gonna make it.
I can tell you what I take, and I'll be kind and I know I could tell you my source, but I ain't going to. Magnesium. Go start taking magnesium pills. You don't have to worry about it.
Take what?
Magnesium pills. Go to either Dollar General or Walmart and take one in the morning and one in the evening. It's like 500 milligrams of magnesium.
I think that seems to work for it.
Yep.
Well, I took the vaccines myself back in, I guess it was March or April of this year.
Well, they're saying 8 months you'll have to take it again. Is what they posted today. They're going to take.
Yeah, I saw that today to have to take a booster at 8 months. But I don't know. I've still just got so bad up here in this area. Every time I go out anymore, I wear my mask again. So I don't know. I may just be playing into something the government's got out there, but.
Thomas here says my sister had problems with the creature until I installed the security cameras with the UV, and that ended the problem. Yeah, I talked to him when he was installing them. They were actually coming up, and they had the outside motion lights that was
Right.
on the side of the house, and whatever it was kept breaking them. And kind of like Barry was saying, beat on the side of the house and stuff, and all the motion lights around them would end up broke within a week or two, and he'd have to go back and put them back up. And we discussed about that, him putting them cameras up, because the trail cams had, what evidence I said, they stay away from it, and it seemed to work for them. After he put them up, they didn't have no more trouble.
I got a friend who lives down next to John's Mountain. He's got, or had, I think he even quit having them replaced, but he had these big security lights up on the light poles that the light companies bring out and put up.
Right.
And he's had them down there for the past 3 years. They'll put a new light in, and within 2 or 3 days, something will break the light out.
That's what that was. It's a week or so, in because they live. Thomas lives over near Russellville or over in that general area, and his sister lives at Searcy, which is about 40 miles apart. So it's like a every weekend deal. He was going over there fixing the lights till he
That's
put
crazy.
the cameras up.
And that ended that.
Yep.
Well, boys, how can we get? How can we come up with a way to stop them from seeing a trail cam?
There's a camera out there that it's well over $1,000. That it's an infrared, not infrared, but what's the heat thermal camera that acts that way, that kicks on and off. That would be the only thing. You actually ain't getting a picture, but you're getting a thermal image of it. So, but it's like $1,280, something like that, $1,300. So that would be my suggestion, to use that, or like what I'm saying with that old timey camera. I'm hoping that works.
Right. Well, man, I wish you good luck with it, Barry, buddy. I'm gonna have to back out of here. It's good to be on here tonight with y'all. I've really enjoyed it.
Yep.
I really appreciate you having me on, Barry. Wendell, it's good to talk to you. I'll see y'all boys later.
See you later.
All right, thank you guys.
All right. I see your question. I wonder why solar powered lights work. Like Ricky was talking about, didn't slow them down. Maybe they're the solar powered lights are getting home to where the electric security lights usually kick on and off. The ones like Thomas had. If you're talking about overhead lights, I don't know. It doesn't make no sense unless it's the height of the lights. The solar powered lights is usually are real low. The low solar powered lights usually. Maybe that's got some power.
Could be.
Hey, you got audio.
Well, I appreciate y'all picking up the slack for me for the. Yeah. I appreciate y'all picking up the slack for me while the internet wouldn't let me. What I got to hear was interesting. Like I said, I'll have to go back and re-watch it when I got a better connection.
It was pretty good, interesting.
I'm gonna have to do something about the internet out here. AT&T just ain't cutting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime that the pick up and shut up time on the actual conversation, your internet.
Yep. Well, like I said, it was working perfect before we went live.
It's working fine now.
I don't know if it draws. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it's just where we had too many people. I don't know. What's that?
I like you. Maybe it's because we had more than 2 people.
I might have to just stick to 2 or 3 people at a time. Because usually it was just me, you, and Ricky. It does okay.
Yeah. It's weird that it worked good for everybody else, not you. And you're the one that started it, though. That's strange.
I even tried switching over to my cell phone, thought I could get on through it, and
Yeah.
it wasn't any better.
Huh.
Well, hopefully the people watching could hear and see better than I could.
Hope
They were
so.
asking questions and stuff, so I assume they must have been able to.
Thomas here.
Well, I appreciate it.
He's got a comment here, but I'm not sure. It says heat active, but heat not UV. Maybe he's commenting on when I was talking about the like a camera that was heat picture solar.
Well, it's a popular opinion that they can see the UV beam that your trail cams put out.
Yeah, I know they can.
Like I said, I'm just counting on sooner or later something's going to lure them in. Either bait they want bad enough or something they're curious enough about. They'll ignore that camera to get to it. I just got to figure out what.
Yep. And then with each one of them, it would be something different usually. Just like us, one thing will attract one of us and not the other. So it's figuring out the ones in your area and what they're used to and what they want.
I'll tell you what they seem to be most curious about so far is us. If we're sitting out on the deck or something, not every afternoon or evening, but if we sit there long enough, we'll hear knocks or whoop or something on back in the woods. You know, we're not one of the habituation people where they come up and stick their head out of the trees and wave at us or anything, but and maybe those people really have that happen. I'm not saying they don't, but it don't happen here.
Yeah, it don't happen. Now, here, closest we got as far as communicating and everything with tree knocks one night at Marcus. And let's see, there was 5 of us there, and we had them actually 3 sets that was answering us back and forth. And you could tell when one of them, either one or Abraham man was with it, would move because the knocks would get closer. And one group got within, I would say, seeing distance of us, and let out. It was weird knocks. It was real fast, pow, 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 and then it just stopped. Everything stopped. So they was letting the other ones know that, hey, this ain't a Bigfoot or this ain't something. Because when after that, pow, 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 we didn't get nothing. Heat activated camera.
I guess about the closest
Is what you need. Yeah, I agree.
heat activated cameras. Yeah, I see what he's saying now. A thermal camera.
Yeah, thermal. That's the word I was thinking of.
We got another one here. Hang on just a second. Here we go. We have tree knocks mimicking as screams when they're on my place. We get the tree knocks, the mimicking. I haven't heard a whole lot of screams. We get a whole lot of whistles. Just real loud, real clear, long whistles.
There's one area that I heard that, and that's up here above Clinton that way, and that's the only place I ever heard whistles at. So that must be something different with different clans too.
Yeah. I was going to say what you said. Different with maybe not each one, but each clan or pod or whatever family, whatever you want to call them.
Oh, yeah.
And it might have something to do with terrain or habitat, or for whatever reason, the ones down south do more screaming and screeching. The ones here in the east, southeast, do the whistles. I don't want to ask me why, but
Right.
Trying to think. And I wonder about a flare. Of course, they're expensive. I already know before I even look, they're expensive. A FLIR camera, if you could afford it.
Neil, the guy that I was telling you about that had the instant sound effect, same as Marcus. He's got a flare this year. He got it from his uncle, and I'm excited to get with him and try it out when we go back to OR. He says it's awesome. But I had never used one or seen anything. I've seen video of it, but I've never seen the actual look through one and do everything.
Mm-hmm. I know what I need to do. I've got a cheap dash cam in the truck. I need to get that thing hooked back up and running when I'm out on the road. Because I saw Barry Webster from Red Squatch. We had him on one night with us.
Yeah.
He was talking about if you're not seeing them, it's because you're not watching the tree line when you're driving down the road. I said, well, he might be onto something there. Well, if you had a camera rolling while you're driving down the road, you might be surprised if you get home, take that SD card out, check it. What you might have drove right past in a field or, like he said, a tree line or something. Because you're watching the road, you ain't looking 30 feet off to the side of it.
I got to get a better GoPro camera or something better than what I got, because I've had them actually looking behind us as we walk out of the area, and you can actually see the shape move in the trees, the dark shape where it's moving up the hill or like away from us. But I'm hesitant to post it because you can't tell what it is. I mean, it's a shape moving up the hill. Somebody or it's a. But,
well, people be, like you said, people be all over it like they are anything else.
Yeah, so.
That's why I put that on there, the video I showed you, when I had something peeking its head up and down. I was hesitant to put that up there for the same reason. People are going to be like, watch when your buddies out there doing that. No, it ain't.
Yeah, the incident.
And that still kind of pesters me. That thing was that close to me.
That's this same as this. This was in 100 feet, 150 feet at the most, and so it was moving away in this video. And I mean, we was walking away, and it was moving up the hill away from us at an angle. But that's the same thing. Somebody said, "Well, hey, that was some of your friends or whatever." But I know the situation we was in and where we was at. There ain't nobody there but us. So that's what it was. Definitely. I mean,
that's me. There ain't nobody out there with me, so. Which I kind of tend to rule out a bear, because if I had been a bear within 50 foot of me, there's a good chance I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
Yep.
I'd like to get back down there and see if, I don't know if it worked, go live, and if I could catch you when you was able to watch me, help me figure out exactly where it was at. If I could get in that same area and kind of move the camera around, and then go over there and do a size comparison between me and it, and exactly how far from me it was, and I'll see if I can find any tracks or tree breaks or whatever in that area where, of course, it's been, 2 weeks now probably? I don't think you're going to find any tracks after that long, but
Probably not.
you might, you never know.
Height reference. Over at OR, it's the same area where Marcus had that deal. It's where we had the thermal image at night. The incident when he's talking about the infrasound, that human-looking image, but went off this bluff line into the creek, and we had thermal vision watching it, and it went into the creek and disappeared because the water was colder and everything. You couldn't see no shape or nothing there. But we went back last spring and was going to try to videotape and figure out how it was on that tree where it started walking off. But there's already so many leaves we couldn't get an accurate bearing, so we're waiting for the leaves to fall back off, and we're going to go back.
Well, I do know
documentation of the height it was.
I do know that in my video, it was downrange from me. I was upslope from it.
Right.
So if it looks as tall as me in the video, that means it's actually taller from where it was standing. And the best I could tell, and of course live video gets so pixelated and stuff every time you move your hand or something, especially leaves and stuff. That's the problem with the video to begin with. It got so pixelated, you could see something moving over there, but you couldn't tell what.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm going to try. I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow or not. I'm going to put oil in the truck and car and go to church tomorrow night. I probably should rest.
Yeah.
Would be the smart thing for me to do on my day off, but nobody's ever accused me of being smart, so
That's me.
yeah. I might make it down there. I don't know. What's that?
I said we got church tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, Lord knows the way things are going. Everybody needs to have church tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Every church in the countryside ought to be throwing the doors open right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Between what's going on in this country and what's going on around the world, I mean, it ain't getting no better.
I know when it is going to get better, though, but
Oh, yeah. At the end.
it's going to get worse before it gets there. So.
That's like that old song says, it'll be worth it after all. I don't know if you've ever heard that one or not. There's a lady at our church that sings that. I really like it. Like I said, the way things are going right now, that's what you got to keep reminding yourself. It's going to be worth it. My aunt gave me a study Bible. It's based off the King James, but it's a study Bible with a little lesson and a parable and stuff out to the side for each verse or each chapter and all that. That's what I've been reading. You see me posting all these questions on Facebook about different stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. It's got some stuff in there to make you think. I'm going to try to post a question tonight. People get so tired of me posting Bible stuff, they'll wish I would go out in the woods and find Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I appreciate you and Ricky carrying on without me there when my internet decided to crap out.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
Good discussion.
Yeah. I'll have to just go back and listen to it when I can. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? The internet may work like a charm tomorrow. But, well, God bless you and have a good night. Be careful. We'll pray for you. Take care.
Yeah, it's same here.
Yep. All right, it's about at an hour and a half. I'm going to cut it off, folks. Everybody have a good one. God bless you. I hope you enjoyed the show. Got to hear and see more of it than I did. But that's just my luck. Oh, well. I'm sure. You too, Tom. Be safe. Take care. God bless. I'm sure there at the end that a lot of that probably didn't interest anybody, but that's okay. It interested me and Wendell. Everybody have a good one. God bless you. We'll see you next time.